and we are off to the races. How's it going, everybody on Facebook? We've got a really, really good one for you today. I was just saying to all of these lovely faces that are in here on the live stream, that I don't get really, really excited by a ton of new things when it comes to high level tech. I've been around for a really long time. I've kind of gone through all of the things that you guys all go through. And when this system got shown to me by one of our very own GHL Mastery VIP members, by the way. Yep, people in our group are creating really, really amazing things. I was blown away. I was completely blown away by what Ralph and Shwekot have created for this high level ecosystem and the problems that it solves. And so if you're watching us live on Facebook, please let us know that you're watching us. I can see that there's 6 of you right now. So just mention in the comments, let us know that you're here. If you guys have questions, we'll have some people monitoring those and we can get to them if you do have questions on this system as we go. And those of you guys that are in the live stream right now, obviously, you know how we do it. We want some interaction. We want to make sure that you guys are awake and off camera, or on camera, I should say. So that we just know that you guys are here and that you guys are all excited about this. So with that being said, let's go with it. One's in the chat if you guys are ready to see what we've got going on for you guys today with Ralph and Shwekot. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So many ones. So I'm just going to start with this. This is broken a record for number of webinars. Like, we've done a lot of webinars. We've done a lot of free trainings. And every single time we send out our registration, we usually get around 250 to 300 people register. We broke that record within, I think, a day and a half when we sent out the notification that we were doing this webinar on how to bypass A2P. And also, the thing that I think is the coolest is leveraging iMessage inside the high-level platform, which is freaking awesome. But we broke that record of our webinar registrations within like 48 hours. And now we've got over 400 people that registered for this, so much so that we actually upgraded our Zoom account so that we can allow for more people to be here. So it's very clear to me that A2P, all the things that come with it, are a bit of a touchy subject. They're a bit of a pain point for a lot of people because we do a lot of these, and this one shattered some records. So with that being said, first I want to introduce Ralph. Ralph and Shwekot are the creators of HiuBlue, and they're the ones that we're kind of partnering with on this because we think that it's going to be an absolute game changer for a lot of people. Specifically, I'm going to touch on this. We're going to touch on this math-wise a little bit later, but specifically for people that are outside of the North American sphere, where LC phone and Twilio and all of those things, the costs just go insane, upwards of 6 cents per text. When it comes to sending messages in countries like Australia and Ireland and lots of places in the UK, not to mention the cost of a single phone number in some of those countries can go all the way up to, what did we see, Ralph? We saw $16 per month for a single phone number.
Toll free sometimes can get up to $100 depending on what country it is.
Yeah. So the costs associated to Twilio, Ralph and I were just talking about this. The Twilio and e-com style messaging has not caught up to the reality of how often people send text messages these days, right? Everybody that's got one of these in their pocket has a unlimited texting plan almost 100% of the time. But the business world hasn't caught up to this yet. And so the costs associated to Twilio and LC phone and those types of things inside HighLevel, they're not going down, right? And so the solution that we're going to show you guys today is one of those ways that we can get it to go down. So Ralph, I would like for you to just introduce yourself to the group and kind of give us a little bit of a rundown as to your backstory, why you created this in the first place.
Perfect. Yeah, so welcome, guys. I really appreciate you guys taking out the time to listen to what we have to say and hopefully provide you a solution to the same problem that we were facing for the last couple of months. So basically, outside of being in the telecom industry for about 12 years, which was like my last, W-2 job, I've been a agency owner and own a couple of different businesses that are supported by GHL, to include a business funding organization, credit repair, and in addition to working with a lot of realtors, being that I'm licensed in like 6 states for the last 20 years. And basically, the issue that we were facing is we have a list of between 150 and 200,000 SMS contacts and emails, and we were getting ready to launch another campaign, and which would be a database reactivation campaign. And what we started to notice was the cost that it was going to be for us to send out these messages. And so we started registering numbers through Twilio and Lead Connector, and that started to become expensive. Then we were being um, flagged for A2P registration. And so I got really frustrated, and my lead developer for the last 6 years, Shoykat, we just brainstormed for a week and we said, why can't we be just like Twilio or Lead Connector? So we basically took the business model, stripped it down, and decided to invest in the hardware infrastructure to be able to do that. And so we have actual physical servers where we're allowed to run our business just as Twilio or Lead Connector would. Lead Connector might be a reseller of a larger organization. And the whole ideation behind what we wanted to do was to reduce and eliminate the threshold for small businesses and agency owners to be able to send messaging. Like Adam was saying, everyone is able to send unlimited messaging without a hassle or having to price calculate, how many messages they can send and what the cost is. And it should be, we should democratize that. And Twilio hasn't gotten there yet. They're still doing a per messaging pricing model. Lead Connector is doing the same thing, and it's just not fair. And then the throttling was a huge issue. Like, just if we needed to have a launch for a webinar or our new product, it was going to take us about 75 days with the throttling to get the messaging out. And that just was counterproductive for the business. So yeah, we just invested in the infrastructure. And the biggest thing is we wanted to make sure that we were able to communicate using iMessage, because when you look at the statistics, 68% of all handset users are iPhone users. So we were able to integrate iPhone and iMessaging technology into our system, and we're just ready to hit the ground running. And we decided, as GHL Mastery VIP members, we wanted to launch this with this community because of Adam and Brendan's experience, and making sure that the training and the development ecosystem opportunities are there for people like us. So that's the long or the short.
Cool. So Ralph already touched on a couple of the pain points that I think a lot of you guys are experiencing. And I'm even seeing some of this stuff in the chat right now where, I want to come at this from a DBR standpoint. So Ralph mentioned he's got a list of 100,000+ people. Now, I am very well aware that the vast majority, probably 80% of GHL agency owners, they're not going to be sending 100,000 text messages through their own agency account. One of the big selling features of Highlevel is database reactivations. It's what you hear about all the time in the Highlevel ecosystem. And when A2P came in place, that almost killed the DBR option for Highlevel agency owners, because there's two problems that come with it. Problem number one is that in order to run a proper DBR campaign, you need to be registered. In order to be registered, you have to have a funnel, you have to have terms of services, you have to have all of these types of things just to get registered. You have to have a registered business or an EIN number in order to register for A2P. And what if you aren't a business? Right? What if you, and even Andy, one of our VIP members in here, said, hey, I don't have a registered business yet. A2P is killing me because I can't register my phone number. I can't register to use Highlevel's LC phone system, right? So that's problem number one, is that you have to go through the A2P process in order to actually move things forward. Problem number two is that if you have a customer that you're going to run a database reactivation campaign for, that they have even a list of 5,000 people, Highlevel by default with A2P regulations, they throttle your messaging so that you can only send 100 a day, and then it will stop. And then it'll send 150 the next day, and then it will stop. And then it'll send 200 the next day, and then it will stop, which takes the ramp up period to be able to complete a DBR campaign for your clients. Like Ralph said, he did some calculations on a large list, and it was going to take 75 days, which maybe isn't the end of the world, but the reality is that we get throttled, we get held back from being able to do stuff like this. Problem number 3 with A2P regulations, as you guys have, I've seen a lot of these questions. Hey, my client has a list, but they haven't opted into anything on their website or anything that, you know, is required from the A2P standpoint. How can I send them a text message without getting my number completely shut down? Right? Not to mention, they also throttle for content in your messages, where if you're sending a link in your first message, that's not going to get sent. It's going to fail. It's going to get rejected. And so there's a lot of things that come with the A2P side that have caused massive, massive headaches. And maybe not all of you guys have been in the Highlevel ecosystem as long as I have. The good old days before A2P, we could do all of this stuff. We can't do it anymore. And it's been a complete pain in the ass. So that's thing number 1. Thing number 2 is cost. And some of you guys may not even consider this. If you're doing low volume yourself, it's no big deal. But I created a really quick spreadsheet here just to kind of show you for this webinar specifically, the campaign that we ran, how much this would have cost us if we were using Twilio and not using LC. Okay, we're a very modest company with about a contact database of about 5,300 people. Okay, so it's not a massive list, but this is a concept and an idea behind running a realistic database reactivation campaign for a customer that has a list of 5,000 people. This one campaign to invite you guys to this webinar, we intentionally added text messages to it, which we don't normally have, but we did because we wanted to showcase what this system can do. But we sent out the invites to about 5,300 people. And in total, if you went through the entire system, we probably sent about 6 messages to each of you. This is why I have a ginormous water jug here. Hopefully I don't cough too much. Now, we are registered in Canada, and our LC phone stuff is registered in the US. And so we're paying the lowest rate that you can possibly pay with LC phone. We sent out roughly 6 messages to a database of 5,300 agencies at 0.0079 cents per text. We sent about 6 of them. That total cost for us in the last week, because we started the invite last Thursday, that would have cost us 251 USD to send out the invites just to the group that we sent out the invites to. Now, that's just text messages. If you send an MMS and you have a picture or anything else of that nature, Highlevel's got in their system the ability to record a video and send that. That's going to be an MMS, right? Those cost 2 cents per text. And if we had any MMS in there at all, it would have cost us $636 in the last 7 days just to get you guys here. That's the reality of the cheapest option inside the LC ecosystem. Okay. I'm going to quickly share my screen and show you this crummy calculator that we created here, just to kind of show you guys what this looks like. Now, here is a Twilio data sheet on all the other countries in the world and how much SMS cost to send in these different countries. So we're lucky to be on the Canadian side and the American side typically, but our clients and those of you running agencies in other countries, these costs are not small. Like I put 0079, let's put 0000 or 04. That's an insane number to run a database reactivation campaign to a list of 5,000 people. Right? Absolutely insane. So what we're going to show you guys today is not only a cost saving opportunity, especially if you're working with clients outside of North America. I can tell you that if you've got a list of 5,000 people, you're going to save money even if you're inside of North America. So that's thing number 1 that we're going to show you. And thing number 2 that I think is freaking amazing is the ability to use iMessaging inside this system. I've got a really cool stat for you. Now, Ralph said about 68%. Apparently, our database of high-level geeks is around 50%. in terms of using Android SMS devices and using iMessages. So of the roughly 399 people that registered for this webinar, 177 of you use Android devices. And 189 use iPhones. And so part of this system is you can actually tell, you can determine what are they using? Are they using SMS or are they using iMessage as a part of this solution? So I think that's pretty cool because now I can feel free to send messages in different ways. And I'm an iPhone guy. We're a bit snobby when it comes to, you know, the blue or the green, right? If you know, you know. I love being able to receive messages and notifications and things of that nature from my system, and it's blue. I'm an iPhone snob, right? And so not only does that help makes it feel more personalized and less spammy because it feels like it's coming from a real person, because nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is sending iMessages to anybody. They're all using Twilio. And this system allows you to send those personalized iMessages that now put it in perspective. Like we work with home service companies as part of our agency. What if a missed call text back went to an iPhone user as an iMessage? They're going to think, oh, that actually came from the owner of the company, right? Versus an automated message that has to have A2P, you know, reply stop to opt out. That's very obviously clearly a automated message, and it doesn't feel personal. We don't have to do that anymore because of the way that Ralph and Shoykot have set this system up. Do we have any questions so far? This is a little bit less of a presentation style system and more of a conceptual style, but I do want to show you guys how easy it is to set up, because it's really quite simple. Once you guys sign up for HiuBlue, you'll get access to all of the things that I'm about to show you. Very, very easy to set up. They built a really clean marketplace app for this, where you can download this marketplace app and load it into a sub account, and boom, you get a phone number. Here's the other really cool thing. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada. And ever since I joined Highlevel 5 years ago, 403 has been the area code that I grew up with. And it was funny. We were having a conversation on one of our VIP calls the other day, and they couldn't find the area code that they were looking for. And I was like, you should show up tomorrow, because Ralph was able to find me a 403 number for my local area code that did not exist in the Twilio or LC side. I have not been able to ever find a 403 area code, and Ralph was able to pull it off. I don't know how. Finding a 403 number. So you have a lot of number flexibility there too, in terms of area codes that you guys can get numbers for. But I'm going to show you, like I said, in here, how easy this is. So this is their backend dashboard. And all I do is I authorize GHL, and lo and behold, marketplace app shows up, and I can decide which account I want to dump it in. Right there. I've already done this, so I'm not going to do it again. And then I click proceed. And then all of a sudden, I've got this extra little thing in our phone numbers section here. If Highlevel stops being high-level-y and loads for me, there we go. In advanced settings, I can turn off. I have a feeling it's because there's so many people on this webinar, my computer's getting bogged down now. And it's also high-level being high-level-y, I'll give it that. So there's all of our Twilio numbers. And yes, by the way, guys, yes, you can still have your old Twilio numbers in here, and it's still going to work on top of the HiuBlue system for messaging. Come on, Highlevel, stop it. This is terrible. There we go. Load up, load up. So SMS providers, you'll get Lead Connector and you'll get HiuBlue as an option. All we do, we click HiuBlue, and now your number is activated inside your GHL sub account and sending messages through the HiuBlue system. The HiuBlue system, we were asked questions about this when we launched and announced this webinar, is that, hey, what if they don't have iMessage? Doesn't matter. this system will just send an SMS. If they do have iMessage, it will just send an iMessage, which is how we know the numbers of people that were using Android versus iPhone when it came to our webinar registration. So it's a very, very simple system to set up. How many of you guys, out of curiosity, how many of you guys have or are promoting or doing database reactivation campaigns today? I want to see ones in the chat if that's part of your offer. Lots of people. Okay, now I'm going to ask you the next question. How many of you guys have calculated the cost of DBR campaigns that you have run? I want to see a 2 in the chat if you know how much those cost. 1 in the chat if you have no idea. A little bit of a mixed bag. One of the questions that we get oftentimes is, hey, for a DBR campaign, I'm going to go a little bit off the HiuBlue trail here for a second. But it's all going to come back around here in a sec. A lot of people in here don't have a clue the cost of a DBR campaign for their clients, which is really, really important when you're trying to sell a database reactivation as part of your software solution, right? And I get asked a lot too, like, hey, how do I charge for a DBR? I don't understand how to charge for a DBR campaign. Well, I'm gonna show you, but I'm gonna show you, and I'm also gonna then show you the costs associated to it. A lot of you guys are charging too little for DBRs. I'll tell you that now for free. So if you guys want this, just let me know in the chat and I'll send it over to you. It's just a little calculator that we created for DBR campaigns. So we start with the customer list size, and I'm just going to do something fairly modest. So 5,000. And what's the average ticket price that your customer would sell their services for? So let's say it's $750. The estimated average response rate typically is around 20%. Okay, 20% of the list that you send SMS to are going to respond. So that's about 1,000 people. Out of those 1,000 people, the conversion rate is going to be about 100 for an overall conversion rate of around 2%. Okay, that's going to potentially generate $75,000 in revenue for your client. Therefore, you should be charging 10% of that. That's how we price out DBR campaigns. Excuse me. Now going back to this, how are you running your DBR campaign, right? What's your list size? 5,300 is pretty close. Let's just make it 5,000. And let's put this back to 0.0079 if you're Canadian or American. The cost of that campaign is $237. So a lot of you guys are doing database reactivation campaigns for $500. A lot of you guys are doing database reactivation campaigns for $1,000. There's still a pretty good profit margin there, but A, you're pricing it wrong. You're going after the wrong people, in our opinion. And B, there's a cost there that you probably didn't even realize. This is not including inbound messages either. So people who respond, who text back, who ask questions, and so on and so forth. We, in the VIP group, we recently launched our new Core 4 AI v3.1 system that can go back and forth with people on all channels. And if somebody's going back and forth with you over text, well, those, you can't control how many, well, in our system, you can control how many messages your AI sends, but you could end up going back and forth and incurring costs that you didn't even know were there. Right? So wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to pay those every single month? I want to see some ones in the chat if you don't want to pay for messages anymore.
Adam, while you're going through this, I wanted to make sure that when you speak about Core 4 and how the different agencies might have an AI situation where they're interacting, whether it be for DBR, how important it is to see the conversion using when someone is being messaged through AI on iMessage, and the cost savings there also, because we're actually using Apple servers, so there's no cost associated with so SMS or anything like
whatever that might be.
Deanna, mute yourself. There we go. So I wanted to cover that too, Ralph, because we used this system intentionally when we sent you guys all invites. A, because I was curious. How many of you guys are iMessage users? How many of you guys are Android users? But what Ralph just said was the reply rate for our campaign actually went up. Okay, our typical reply rate when we send out a message is around that 20% mark. It doesn't matter if we're doing a DBR. It doesn't matter if we're sending out webinar invites. The actual reply rate to those is around 20%, just like I showed you guys in the DBR campaign. The reply rate this time was 35%. And half of you, just a little bit over half of you, were iMessage users. So who here noticed when we texted you? I'm talking to the iMessengers, my people. Who noticed the blue? Who noticed the blue? Yeah, a bunch of people. One's in the chat if you noticed the blue, and if you're on Facebook and you did register and you're not on the live chat, a lot of people noticed the blue. I thought it was freaking awesome. Another really cool thing, this is another side tangent. When we were testing our AI system with this, one of the really cool things, and again, and this is just an iPhone nerd thing, but when the AI is starting to respond, there's the text bubble pops up and says somebody's writing you a message, and then the message gets sent. So it's like a full-on personal experience with an AI through iMessage, which is, to me, absolutely mind-blowing. So I want to go back to this DBR calculator here, because like I said, our jobs as agency owners, especially if we're doing DBR campaigns, is to get our clients a return, right? I'm going to use the same numbers that we were just talking about, right? 20% response rate is typical for us when we send out invites to things. We had a 35% response rate this time, which just bumped that number up significantly. Not only if we were running a DBR campaign for our client, that extra 15% is a big chunk of money more opportunity for your clients. So think about the missed opportunity here when you're doing DBR campaigns using an A2P LC phone or Twilio style system. The potential to make your clients even more money. And you can sell DBRs at a percentage of sales too, right? You can sell DBRs at 10% of all sales collected, which then can help increase your revenue because your response rates are going to be much higher, leveraging iMessage in general inside of Highlevel. Make sense? Everybody following? Is this something that excites you, or is this kind of like, I'll just deal with A2P and I'll just deal with SMS fees? One's in the chat if you think this is awesome and you can see the potential here for you guys to be able to provide an additional level of service to your customers.
Adam, while you're going through that, let me make a quick point. So a couple of folks in the chat are saying that their message was gray, not blue. So the issue is you have to respond to the message for it's still being delivered on iMessage with the character recognition and things like that. And once you respond, the message will turn blue. The second thing is this was a essential test on the database reactivation. However, there's two ways that we can run database reactivations. We can send clients to a landing page where we can set up a functionality where the client initiates the text first. So let's say you have a low ticket item, or let's say a free ebook, or you sign up, someone signs up to receive a VSL, and all you need is their name, email address, and phone number. When you have that lead capture page set up, built into HiuBlue is the ability for once they hit submit, it's going to pop up on their phone or on their computer to send that text message first. And that's how we're able to go around any type of A2P violation, because once you're messaging us first, we don't have to be A2P compliant. So that's a huge feature that we put in there to make sure that we never get flagged for spamming. And it's a practice that we recommend that agency owners use to have the person that's receiving the content initiate the message first. So that's why you're seeing it gray and not blue. And just wanted to put that out there for you.
Can you repeat that?
All right. So, nice background.
The whole thing.
So if you're running a database reactivation campaign, and let's say you're sending them to a webinar registration page, a free ebook download, or VSL, on that lead capture page, we have it set up for you where you enter the phone number, Ralph Oliver, my email address and my phone number. When you hit submit, a pop-up will come up and it will say, hey, send me the ebook. And then you press send and it will text you. Basically, you're texting yourself or texting us to send you that piece of content. And you do that to avoid any type of A2P violation.
And so what he's talking about is they'll be scrolling on their phone and they'll be putting in, the way that they have their form set up is that they fill in the form and they hit submit. That submit will automatically open up their SMS on their phone or their iMessage on their phone with a preloaded message to send, and they just hit send. And so the first message sent is an inbound message from the client. So that's kind of way number one. Now, we didn't do that because we wanted to test how does this work when we just send that first message. And so what we did there, we'll cover this kind of towards the end. What we did is we throttled how many text messages were being sent. We got a question in here like, hey, how do you get past A2P regulations with this system? The answer is, if you gave me personally your phone number right now, I could text you from my phone because this is a personal device. It's a personal phone number. I can text you all I want from this phone. That's essentially how this is set up on the back end, is that it's set up as a personal device with its own iMessage account or SMS account. And so therefore, it's a personal cell phone or a person texting you. We just happen to have a wicked integration with Highlevel to allow this to happen, right? So that's effectively how it works. Here's the thing that got me really excited when I first started speaking to Ralph, because I have seen other solutions out there that do something very, very similar. In fact, I was asked to be part of a beta group of people that were testing a different service, and I'm not going to say any names. And I said, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm interested. Thing number one, no iMessage capabilities. And thing number two, he's like, awesome. You need to go and buy an Android phone, and then you need to go and buy a SIM card, and then you can link that with our system. And I was like, wait a second. So for me to test this, I have to have an Android phone. And then on top of having an Android phone, I have to go buy a SIM card to put in this Android phone, and then I can run it. Well, what if I have 100 clients? I need to have 100 Android phones and 100 SIM cards? Yes, was the answer. The thing that got me really excited about HiuBlue and the way that they are doing it, they have the server infrastructure and backend already set up and ready to go. So there's no need for you to buy a new device. There's no need for you to buy SIM cards. They have the infrastructure there for you already. Now, that being said, that does come with a setup fee, right? Because they have to add server space, they have to add iCloud accounts, they have to do all of that sort of stuff. So there's a little bit of setup that does go into the back end of this. So there's a setup fee per phone number. But the benefit now becomes you have the capability to do unlimited text messaging without being charged extra for overages and things of that nature. And you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything on your end. It's already set up for you on the back end. So what I would like to do, because I think that we've kind of covered the vast majority of things that we want to cover, I'm going to open it up to questions. So Ralph, are you okay with that? Are you okay fielding some questions about how this system works? And then we're going to talk about how you guys can get early bird access to this system. And it's obviously an exclusive through the GHL Mastery program. There's genuinely a limited number available for the founders at the founders price point. So let's answer some questions. We'll do about 10 minutes answering some questions for you guys. And then we're going to get into kind of how you guys can get into this ecosystem and start using it for yourselves. Ali, you were first up, first in. Let's go.
When you went into that phone numbers tab in Highlevel and you switched it from lead connector to HiuBlue, what would happen with inbound and outbound phone calls using that same phone number? Would we still be able to use the web app and the mobile app for inbound and outbound calls, or no?
Great question. So you still need to use LC for calling. And so you do have, like you saw ours, we've got those 3 LC numbers plus the HiuBlue number. So the HiuBlue number is responsible for all SMS that go out. And then all calls come in and go out through our LC phone numbers.
So 2 separate numbers.
2 separate numbers. Yeah.
Got it. So what happens if you iMessage someone and that client says, can I call you? And they end up calling that number. Will we receive an incoming call somewhere or no?
As of today, no.
Okay.
We can set it up where you can get a missed call text back, and then on the missed call text back, you can put the number that you're available to talk on.
Got it. Okay.
Can
All
you
right, but
maybe
is
set up
this
a
something that's on
forward?
the roadmap to have the phone calls also be associated with HiuBlue or no?
Not yet. We wanted to focus on achieving the. So there's the biggest thing is understanding with HiuBlue is that we're using Apple's infrastructure and their messaging platform and their all of their encryption protocols and stuff like that. And when you're using their system, do as Apple says and do as Apple does. And so we had to put some things in place to make sure that the ecosystem isn't abused, because if anybody has ever tried to use like some third-party app to send a bunch of messages on iMessage, first of all, it's almost nearly impossible. And we already know the algorithms and the data points where Apple will ban you from their messaging service. So we want to make sure that we have everything correct on the messaging side. And we've had the conversations about integrating a voice capability, because Adam, that was like the second question Adam asked. And when you think about it, if you're an iPhone user or even an Android user, and how are you able to make a phone call from another device other than your cell phone? It's not a soft phone product.
Right.
So we might open it up to phone calls eventually, but this is basically a system to help you send messages in a more inexpensive way and in a more personal way. And then, if you do have an AI integration, it really, really works well for those folks that are, if you have Core 4 AI, that's where you'll really shine and see the conversion rates, get up as high as like 40%.
Got it. Have you tested making a phone call to someone that was iMessaging you from HiuBlue? Like, where does that phone call go for the?
So we have servers, and so we have hardware and software, and that phone will it'll either we can set it up to be a voicemail or to just ring or forward to somewhere else.
So if I call this 403 number that Adam used to reach out to us for this webinar, it will route somewhere, or it just like it's a
right now it's just routed to that number, but essentially we can set it up to forward to another number.
Got it. Okay. All right. I guess
But
I'll test to see what the user experience is like for me to call that 403 number, just to kind of see where that call goes and what the experience is like on.
Yeah. Adam doesn't have that number forwarding to his LC. We purposely wanted to keep it separate.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah. And then the second thing I guess you guys will get into pricing later, but I wanted to know if rebilling is an option on this product.
So the way that the offer that we're going to show you guys in a few minutes, or if you guys have seen the link already, it's we haven't set up rebilling because rebilling is usually useful for a per message business model.
Right.
Once you're in the ecosystem and if you want to go and upsell what we're charging for each sub account, you can do that on your own and you're like, hey, look, we have an unlimited messaging option. You know what your cost is going to be on the website. It shows you it's $97 per sub account. If you want to go ahead and charge $297, $397, or what we charge monthly, which is going to be $497, you have that ability to do that. That's between you and the customer.
Got it. Now, what happens if they're using HiuBlue, but the recipient is on an Android? Would that then incur a price per text situation? No.
We don't have any price. So it's the same way. You have to look at our system as if you were using the actual device. That's the easiest way to explain it. So if you're an iMessage user and you text the Android, it's just going to be it's going to be a green bubble.
Got it. Okay. So it doesn't matter if it's an iMessage or an actual SMS.
Nope. It works with both.
Got it. Sounds good. Thank you.
Beauty.
Appreciate you guys.
No problem.
Ben, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? You probably can guess my question, right? You want to go
Yeah.
or shall I ask it?
Well, you're from Germany, so I bet you
Exactly.
have a lot of use cases for this.
Yeah, does that work with German numbers too? Like, can you get a
Yes.
German number to send it?
Yep, we can do Germany, we can do Australia, we can do if for the clients that onboard, you tell us the area code or country code that you need, and we can integrate with that.
Oh,
And
wow.
like the reason Ben that I mentioned, like when Ralph and I first started talking about beta testing this together, I've been in the Highlevel ecosystem and been using Twilio for 5 years. They have never ever given me the option, whether through Twilio or through LC, to have a 403 number, which is my area code.
Insane.
Ralph messaged me like a couple hours after we initially talked. He's like, "Hey, got you a 403 number." I was like, What? Like those barely exist at all, because we're now up to 3 different area codes in our province because there's that many people, right? So yeah, any number, any area code, maybe some limitations as just in regards to what's available, but yes, get you any number,
Cool.
any area code.
Because the crazy thing is, in Germany, it's illegal to buy mobile phone numbers. So Twilio and Lead Connector don't offer mobile, just landline. And that's what's stopping me from using SMS in general. So no matter if it's A2P, well, if it was A2P, because I have an American company, I would have to register A2P to send from an American number to Germany in the first place,
which would cost a lot more money.
if I got the A2P through. So that didn't
Yeah.
even happen because all my copy and everything's in German, so they didn't understand anything. But cool. So I checked out the website, or like the HiuBlue website. Ralph, that's another question.
Don't say anything yet, because we're going to announce it to everybody.
Okay. Okay. I'll shut up.
Hold price elasticity questions till the end, please.
Is it just one question? Is there an option like pay one and get all sub accounts on it too, or is it per sub account?
So when we
If you want to answer
accept you,
that.
no, it's not, because it's not a big deal. So if you want, let's say you have 10 sub accounts, right? And we need to determine which accounts, like if you might only want 5 of your sub accounts on there, but you might want all 10 of them. We just need to determine, and when we have an onboarding call, see what the best way
Okay,
to
you fucking bitch.
Wow.
Thank you.
We just need to determine what the use case is to figure out if we can use multiple numbers on one sub account, or if you need to have a separate sub account for each number based on your volume. So the first thing is to get you as an agency onboarded, and then determine what that use case may be. Because a lot of folks, even in the chat, are like, well, how many messages can we send per hour? We have thresholds in place to make sure that you guys don't get your number banned or get blocked from both iMessage or the messaging provider. So if you're going to be doing a huge amount of messaging, then you might need to have 2 numbers on one sub account. So we have it throttled out basically where for a mid-sized campaign, you can do it with no problem. But if you're going to be doing, a huge, like what I was doing, 100, 200,000 database reactivation campaign in a short period of time, we might need to have to set up multiple lines.
Yeah, it's never going to be that much. It's like kind of like Adam, like between 1,000 and maybe 10, 12,000. That's the max. And as for now, it's like 8 or 10 sub accounts. But there was one more question that I wanted to ask. Is that like does it also integrate in the Lead Connector app?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Cool.
I can show you right now. So all of these messages that are connected and to, like, you're going to be able to see everything there. You can do missed call text backs. Like I said, you can set up AI. It works just as if Lead Connector or Twilio was into the sub account or the agency account.
Is there a resell option too for other CRMs?
What you mean? Like, does it work with like
Close.io, the Close.io, Zoho?
Oh, like for bot, if you're using a bot situation, like, because Close.
Could I sell this solution to somebody that's not using Highlevel but a different CRM?
That might be coming out in the future. We're just trying, like I said, we might probably need to book a call and discuss what you're trying to do. Our ecosystem can do that with no problem. It's just making sure we have we do what we need to do to integrate correctly. But we can, to answer your question, yes, we can. We've just decided to focus on Highlevel right now. But if there's a use case because you're in another country and you're getting hosed with fees, we can we can talk about that.
That would be amazing. Yeah, let's connect. Like you're also in the VIP group, right?
Yep.
Cool.
He is,
Shoot you
yep.
a text I'll shoot you a text if that's cool.
Okay, no problem.
He'll send you his HiuBlue number. You can shoot him a text there.
All
right, cool.
That is free finally. Thanks.
We've only got a handful of minutes left before we want to jump into kind of showing you guys how you can get access to this. And there's a bunch of hands up. So I'm just going to say this, if you are in the VIP program, maybe hold your questions because we have our call coming up at 1. And we can probably loop back on some questions. Ralph, can you make that call today?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you're in the VIP program, maybe hold off for a minute so that we can get to some of these other people who are not yet in the VIP program. And then we'll cover those people today. So Pratesh, what's up, man?
Hey, Dan.
Good.
Can you? Good. Yeah, so my question is, like if I'm doing a database reactivation and let's say it's an Android user, so I assume for iPhone users it will default to iMessage, but for Android users, is it going to default to sending an SMS basically? Is that like how it works?
Yes. Yeah.
Just like a regular iPhone.
Like Ralph said, like Pratesh, I am an iPhone user. If I was to send you a text and you are an Android user, you're just going to get an SMS. I'm going to send an SMS. If you're an iPhone user,
Yeah,
it's automatically going to be an iMessage. So it works the same way,
Okay.
which is why we were able to
Cool.
determine when we sent out the webinar invites, how many of you are iPhone users and how many of you are Android users based on did it get sent as an SMS or an iMessage, right?
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, automatically does
Yeah,
that.
I don't think I got a text from you, but I don't know. Maybe that's a typing error or something on my end. I don't know.
Or
but yeah,
maybe
thanks.
UK, I'm not sure. Cool.
Yeah. So does this work for different countries? Like, I know you can get like a UK number, US number, but will it do like, let's say I'm in the UK, I'm doing a database reactivation for real estate agents in the UK and the US. Will it default to iMessage on both of those and then send a text for both those
Yes.
countries as well?
Correct.
Okay.
We would just probably recommend that you separate it a little bit between your database between US and UK, just for simple like common sense marketing, because people might be like, who's this guy reaching out to me about the
Yeah,
United? And I'm just saying that kind of taking a personal
yeah. I know what you mean.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, what's going on?
Right. So, do you guys have future plans to incorporate RCS protocol into this? Because that's what the iMessage version of Android is. And it's gaining popularity over like the last couple of years. And there's even rumors of Apple switching iMessage from their current protocol to RCS to basically bridge the gap between, the whole green bubble, blue bubble type deal.
So if you listen to the developer conference that just happened a couple of weeks ago, they didn't announce that in the near future they're going to switch to RCS. And you got to think about it like this: Apple has so much control right now because of the 62 or 64% of all handset users globally are iMessage users. It's no financial benefit for, and they've said this in their day 2 and day 3. It's no financial benefit for Apple to open up the iMessage ecosystem in their servers that they use to be able to allow Android users to be on their ecosystem. What has been in discussion is iMessage having RCS capability to Android users. Now, if your handset or your network or the network that we decided to put you on as a HiuBlue user has RCS capability, it'll work.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But
And,
we go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'll ask.
Yeah.
after.
So I would just be because I know a couple of people in the chat were asking like what's going to happen when iOS updates. Your HiuBlue account operates as the newest version of iOS. It operates as if you had a physical iPhone device. So there's
Got it.
nothing to worry about when it comes to capability, compatibility. We've already future-proofed that portion of things.
Okay. My other question was, so I keep hearing that you guys say like, what if, what if the person that you text through HiuBlue has an Android, and you guys say it'll send as just like as if you were to send a text message from an iPhone to an Android user. Is there an associated cost to that, or is it going
No.
to default through the LC?
No, it's unlimited SMS. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Good. That clears it up.
we
Beauty.
wanted to go with a similar model of your cell phone company. Your cell phone company hasn't charged you a per message. I mean, a lot of folks. I mean, I'll be 40 in September, but it's been almost 15 years since cell phone companies were charging per message or per
Yeah.
minute. So why should we be a victim of that?
Okay. So basically this replaces LC SMS feature altogether then, huh? I mean, almost, right? Like I would say at a 90% rate.
We just don't need voice. We just don't do voice at the moment.
Got it.
So that's why you would need
Yeah.
a lead connector phone.
And
Yeah.
for the
All right.
record, the other options that are out there are the same. They also do not do voice typically, unless you have a physical device. And Ralph, you've actually talked to me about this, and you said, hey, if we wanted to get, because I just upgraded my phone, I've still got my old phone. If I wanted to put a SIM card in that phone, I could connect it to HiuBlue and take phone calls on it.
Mm.
So it's possible. The server infrastructure that they offer through HiuBlue obviously means that you don't physically have a device for it. But if you did want one with a SIM card, we could also go that route. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question, and then we're going to get into how you guys can get your hands on this. So Nick Scott, you are the next up with your hand up. So we're going to end questions with you. Make it a good one, brother.
Okay, so with database reactivation, if I'm with the opt-ins, right? So if I'm working with a bunch of window companies, for example, that sell replacement windows, high ticket items, they have lists from the past. They've been in business 10 years. Who knows how they got these phone numbers, right? Who knows? So when we are sending maybe 20 to 30 contacts a day at database reactivation and just have it dripping, how does that work? And how can we get around A2P if we don't know, if they didn't text us first? Because I know you mentioned something about the form. You click on it, it texts them first, which kind of gets around A2P. But what about opt-ins that we have no idea where they came from? Is that going to be a problem?
No,
It still doesn't matter. And the reason for that is that, like I said earlier, if you gave me your phone number, I can text you all I want from here.
Right.
If I annoy the shit out of you, you can block my number. Yes. Yeah. So that's still a possibility, but it's sending from a personal device.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's another one of the, I mentioned that in the very beginning. I'm not sure if you're here, but part of the A2P headache is that we can't legally send those text messages through an A2P registered company because they didn't opt in.
Right.
But with this methodology, you can. And to give you guys another idea of kind of how we did it, you mentioned like 20 to 30 messages per day or per hour.
Mm-hmm.
When we launched our webinar registration campaign, we started it at 100 per hour. And then what we did is we dripped it. So we put 100. No, did we start? No, we started at 100. Yeah. So we did 100 per hour. And then in our campaign, we just dripped 2 through every minute. So it's basically sending a text message every 30 seconds to the group. And then the next 100 would come in and it would just keep on dripping every 2 minutes. Right.
Okay.
And then we were like, okay, well, this is working great. We've got no flags, no nothing. So let's bump it up to 150. Bumped it up to 150, no issues. Right. And that was without a warm-up period per se for this number. This number was brand new. We had only used it for testing with our AI. And it was working great. So then this was our first actual real live launch test to a database.
Cool.
And we had no throttling issues. So
awesome. That's it.
Right on.
By the way, I never got the text message for the webinar registration. Just FYI on that. I have an Android.
I'll take a look and see what came through. Anyways, guys, let's kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this. Ralph and Shortcut were gracious enough with us to offer a unique option for you guys, basically a limited time GHL Mastery exclusive offer for all of you. But first, I'm going to show you how much this is going to cost just for normal everyday usage for you guys. All right, guys, so here is the pricing for the HiuBlue system that we've just been talking about. You've got your core plan, which gives you agency resell rights for unlimited SMS messages, unlimited phone numbers for $297 a month. That is going to be your agency cost. And then we have a $350 setup fee per line per sub account. So as many phone numbers as you want. There is a setup fee per number. And then the cost per line per sub account is $67 a month. So that is your additional cost for unlimited SMS only. There's no iMessaging capabilities in the core plan for HiuBlue. Now, if we go over here to the agency pro plan, it's $497 a month. That's your agency resell monthly fee. You get unlimited SMS with iMessage support. So this allows you to use iMessage with the Highlevel system. You have unlimited phone numbers that you can add to the system. And then again, it's $350 setup fee per line per sub account with an additional per line cost of $97 per month for the unlimited messaging. So this is the standard price plan that we're offering with the HiuBlue system. But as I said before, we've got an amazing offer that both Ralph and Shoykot have decided, hey, you know what, let's do this for the GHL Mastery guys. And, you know, they like to support us. We like to support them because they have a phenomenal product. And so we've got a limited time offer. And if you're seeing this, you can click the link to this offer below. If it doesn't exist, it's just going to redirect back to this page. We've got about 10 available that we're going to be selling of the new price plan for GHL Mastery exclusive offers only. So we're going to go to this page here. It is highblue.com/highlevel-mastery. And we've got the core agency founder plan, which gives you the agency resell rights for $19.97 per year. So there's a massive savings of over $1,500 there just on this plan alone. And then we actually reduced the setup fee per line on this founders deal to $97 instead of $350 with the same monthly cost per line on the core plan. So again, this is just SMS messaging only, unlimited for your agency. So tons and tons of savings there just on the subscription side as well as the setup fee side if you get in on the founders pricing today, or the next 10 people will get this price. Now on the agency founder side, it's $29.97 for the year. And again, this gives you unlimited SMS messaging and iMessaging support. You get one free line and sub account right out of the gate, which you get on both of these plans actually. And again, the setup fee goes from $350 to $97 per line on the founders deal. And then the cost per line to do unlimited messaging and iMessaging is $97 a month. So guys, this plan and this promo that Ralph and Shortcut are doing to me is absolutely mind-blowing. The savings are absolutely unprecedented. And let's just do some quick math here. $497 times 12. We're going to subtract $29.97. You're saving almost $3,000 just in the pro plan alone. And then again, this is absolutely massive. If you get in on the founders deal, it is not $350 per line. It is $97 per line. So now is the time to act and jump on this because the prices, you know, they're always elastic and they're always going to go up as the demand goes up. And again, I want to reiterate here that when you get these plans, you do not need to have a device. You do not need to have a SIM card. All of this stuff is actually set up for you on the back end. So there's literally nothing that you have to do other than purchase, you know, reach out to Ralph, book a call and get a new number through them. And then you link it to your Highlevel account. And I showed this in the very beginning of this webinar. You literally just link it to your sub account and your number's ready to go, just like you would do with LC or Twilio. But there is a setup fee because there's costs involved in getting these things set up and running and operating every single month. So guys, this is a phenomenal deal. And like I said, this promotion right here that you're seeing on screen this is limited to the next 10 people. And once those are sold out, this page is going to go away and it's going to redirect to this page here. So right now is the absolute best time to get on the founders deal for HiuBlue. Honestly, this has been the best system that I've ever used outside of Twilio. And the integration to Highlevel is seamless. There's really nothing that you cannot do with it. So take advantage of the current price plans that we've got going on with the HiuBlue system and Highlevel integration, because you absolutely will not regret it. And with that said, guys, we're going to hop into some questions and let you guys ask, grill myself, Ralph, and Shoykot on how this system could potentially work for your agency. So
can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
About getting the phone, do we get it from Twilio and then pass it over, or does HiuBlue provide?
No, we'll onboard you. So once you sign up, you'll have an onboarding form. It's going to ask you what area code you want, and a bunch of other questions. We'll set up the phone number, and then we'll have a Zoom call with you where we'll walk you through and connect everything for you, test it to make sure that it's working.
So no registration from our side.
Nope, we handle everything. That's another one of the ways that we are going around A2P, because you are not being required to register because it's not being registered to a company. We found loopholes to stay compliant.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and like when Ralph set this up for me, it was so easy. I was shocked. I almost didn't believe him when he said, "Oh yeah, we'll get you a number. We'll have you set up by like in an hour." I was like, "Yeah, right. How can you switch over my system in an hour?" That's exactly what he did. I found you a 403 number. Here it is. Link your sub account to this marketplace app, and boom, we were all of a sudden on HiuBlue. Done. Right now, like we said, there's a setup required because he has to set up the device, he has to set up the account, and get everything working on the back end on the server side. But it's very, very quick. It's painless. Yeah, the onboarding process is really, really easy. And like Ralph said, when you guys jump on this, you're going to get on an onboarding call with Ralph, and you're going to walk through your specific use cases to determine what numbers you need, what the best use case is for you, and then get your accounts set up through the marketplace app, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, there's a couple questions in there. Someone asked if we can do number porting. We've decided to not do that at the moment because we want to make sure that we're using clean numbers to start with. And we don't want to, muddy the waters with it. We don't know what you did previously to you coming onto our, system, and we would just prefer a clean slate. Another question that I see coming in here is, will it work with ZappyChat? Yes, as long as you're ZappyChat, Core 4, any of the existing AI programs that you guys are using that are connected with GHL, the same way it works with Twilio and Lead Connector, it will work with whatever you're using.
Correct. Anytime you send a text message out of Highlevel, it doesn't route through LC, it routes through the HiuBlue system. So the same way that Twilio connects to Highlevel, HiuBlue connects to Highlevel and just sends the messages in a different way. But all messages that you send, whether that's from the conversations tab or through a workflow, they all get sent the same way as LC does.
Can we also purchase phone numbers through the Highlevel phone numbers tab with HiuBlue showing up on the back end, or we have to go through a different dashboard to purchase numbers?
You'll have to go through a different dashboard. Yeah, different dashboard, because it's LC, like Highlevel integrates directly with Twilio. And keep in mind too that all of the numbers that you see when you search for a number in Twilio, those are all recycled numbers. Right. And so that's kind of why Ralph mentioned, like, hey, we start fresh because we don't know who was using that number in the past, what that number was used for. Oftentimes, guys, I'm sure some of you have experienced this, but you'll automatically get marked as spam from an LC phone number, right? And so we avoid that by getting new numbers. So there's different dashboard. You go through HiuBlue to get your numbers.
And then since there's no phone calls like the CNAM and Shake and Stern, none of that stuff applies right now, right?
No, you would still need to get a phone number through LC if you're going to do calling, but that doesn't require A2P registration.
And
Can't
then
we just-
if we get new clients to like our white label version, do we always have to go through Ralph to get them set up, or are we gonna just be able to have full control ourselves through a dashboard of getting them onboarded, getting them a phone number, etc.?
Why would you want to do that process? Why would you want to do that?
I'm not saying I do. I'm just
Mhm.
curious to know. I just want to set the expectation for my customers, like when they sign up with me and a sub account gets automatically created through the SaaS configurator.
Mhm.
Typically, like our current onboarding processes, we have them fill out a form, we purchase a number for them. It's all done through the GHL dashboard, but I'm just curious to know what would
Yeah, so our
an
form is a
SLP be
GHL
like?
form. Yeah, our form is all integrated with GHL. And if you are someone that is going to be using this to resell for quite a few folks, we can create that automation in your SaaS sub account. Not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right
So to
on.
answer your question, it'll just the form will generate a message to our system of what number to get, and then they'll have a link to activate on HiuBlue, and then that number will just populate into their account like it would for you as an agency owner.
Got it.
Right on, guys. We're 11 minutes overtime. I know that there's probably a lot to unpack here and a lot of things to think about. But this platform, I can tell you just from the last 3 weeks of using it, has been awesome. And so if you're dealing with A2P headaches and you're dealing with high costs in other countries, in my opinion, there is no better solution than HiuBlue at the moment. Literally, you don't have to do anything. You sign up, you don't have to get a device, you don't have to get a SIM card. It's all done for you on the back end. And you can have your account up and running in less than an hour, and you'll be sending iMessages and SMS to your people. So with that being said, guys, if you guys have any questions, Ralph, I'm gonna post your contact information on the Facebook live stream. And
Okay.
I'll send out an email as well to everybody post this so that you know how you can book if you've got any questions and you want to book a strategy call or something like that with Ralph to figure out what this could look like in your system. We'll give you all of the information through email and on the Facebook page inside the GHL Mastery free group where this is currently streaming live. Those of you guys in the VIP, I see Bob and Rob, you guys both have your hands up. So Ralph will hop into the AI training today and we'll answer some of those questions. We'll create a breakout room specifically with Ralph today so that you guys can grill him and Shoykot all you want on how HiuBlue can actually help. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna shut this one down and we will.
Sorry, can I ask one last question that might be valuable to everybody? What happens in the instance of DND? Like if someone does reply stop to a campaign.
Easy.
Make a workflow.
Make a workflow that on reply stop.
Recognize in the workflow. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
So DND still works.
It's not
still works
native
perfectly.
anymore. You'd have to create a workflow for it.
Yep.
Yeah. But here's the other nice thing about that is that, and again, if somebody replies stop to Twilio, you can never send them a message again, right? Because Twilio has unsubscribed them. The only way that you can ever send them a message again is if they reply start or resubscribe. With this system, you don't have to do that anymore. You can have a customer replied stop workflow, and then you can have a customer replied that turns DND off, right? So you can now keep on going back and forth. You won't send anything to them while they're in DND, but if they message you back, you can turn off DND and you can continue to message them.
Or, and what happens with Twilio, let's say they do come back into your environment, they do fill out a form and they came into your environment through a form. With Twilio, you cannot message them because it's still stopped. With this system, a form can turn off D&D now through your workflows, and now you can message again.
Perfect. And then the opt-out rates don't like suspend your account. None of that stuff either.
Nope.
With Twilio. Okay.
Nope.
It's all internal at that point.
Right.
Now, obviously, do the right thing and make sure that you have opt-outs and DNDs set. But you can get around it, right? You obviously want to do that just A, to do the right thing, and B, you don't want people to block your number or mark that number as spam, because if you get a bunch of those, guess what has to happen? Your number's burned. You have to set up a new one.
Yep.
Right. So just bear all of that in mind. Okay. Like I said, Bob and Rob, you guys can hop in on the VIP call this afternoon and ask your questions there. Luis, sorry, bud. We're going to cancel. We're going to close this call out. And if you guys have questions, I will have Ralph's contact information available to you so that you guys can book some calls with him and get in on this founders deal before it goes away. So
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys all for showing up. And we'll see you on the next one that we do. And for those of you guys that don't know already, GHL Mastery and the GSD, we're doing a live event in August from August 2nd to August 4th. We have not really fully made this publicly available to everybody. We have about 9 tickets left that we are going to be selling. And so if you are interested in rubbing shoulders with us and literally having us sit down with you and help you build a product, help you with positioning your product and helping you with the sales side of things, we actually have it in the calendar that we're going to be making sales calls, prospecting calls, and helping you sell solutions. Our goal is to double or triple what you pay for the ticket while you're there in new closed deals. So if you guys are interested in joining us live in LA, shoot me a DM and I'd love to get you guys registered. Like I said, there's 9 spots left at the moment. So that goes to VIP members, GSD members, and all of you guys who aren't either of those things. There are 9 seats left available for us in the live event. So we'd love to see you there. And with that being said, peace out. I'm going to hit the end button and y'all are going to go away. And we hope to see you on the HiuBlue side because you will not regret it. It's going to save you a ton of money in the long run for your agency. All right. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.